Hello, everybody. Good Wednesday evening to you all. Thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight, I'm bringing Spirit on. Um, I have met Spirit a couple of years ago on Facebook. We became friends, and I just followed her story. She's such a beautiful, courageous woman, have so much to share with the world. I want to bring her on tonight to share some of her stories with us. Actually, Spirit is so special to me because when I found out her hello Arthur, I am going to invite some people whilst I tell you. When I found out who she was, and it of course intrigued me because she is the daughter of one of the Little Rock students that went to school, the first set of black students that went to school and had to be escorted um, because it was just that dangerous. Her mom was one of those students, and just seeing her and her family, how they contribute not only to the community but to the country, and I believe to the world. I really admire her, and I am going to invite her on now. There she goes. All right. All right. So, Spirit, if you jump on, I sent you a request. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on, you guys. I have Spirit coming on. Just waiting to see if she got the invitation. How are you guys doing tonight? How was your Wednesday? It was a pretty crazy Wednesday for me. Things kept getting thrown into the way, but every time I was like, okay, it's okay. That's what it's meant to be. Accepting, and moving on. Something else would get thrown in the way. It's like, okay, I accept it until I just was like, okay, that's it. Let's just breathe. All right, so I'm gonna bring Spirit on. I see her on now. Thank you guys for joining, and let us bring drum roll. Hello, hello.
I'm so excited.
Okay, I want to make sure we can hear good. Can you hear me good?
I can.
Okay, yes, you
I'm
too.
so
You're
excited to
so
be here.
beautiful. Me too. I know we're first time meeting face to face, but I feel like we said our souls know each other for a long time.
I know. Totally.
I was
100%.
I was just telling everybody like I always felt so connected to you once I like found your page and just following your journey. It's like so much admiration for you, for your family, just for what you're doing. So I want to bring you on.
Thank you.
I know you have the podcast, and I think that's so amazing, bringing awareness. My daughter is very big on um, bringing awareness of what's going on also in the country. So this is very passionate. So she's like, "Mom, I'm coming to sit in."
Oh, that's so wonderful. I just want to thank
Yeah.
you. I literally could not be more excited. I was thinking to myself today, I'm like, how did we connect? And it's funny because you were friends, like our mutual friend is my brother Isaiah.
Yes, that's how we did.
But like from
You're
the
so
moment I
funny.
connected with you, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love your energy and you're just so radiant and beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
It's funny
thank
because I feel the same from you. Reflection. Go ahead, introduce yourself, and then we'll get into. I know it's because our first time really seeing each other too.
you.
So
Yeah, so it's all excitement. My name is Spirit Tawfiq, and I consider myself a social justice passionista. And my life journey has enabled me to see part of my purpose as serving as an intergenerational bridge between the civil rights movement and the young, courageous leaders who are still fighting for equality and justice today. So I kind of see myself as a bridge. And from that, I have
wow,
claimed my role as a bridge and my desire to break down racism through storytelling, education, and the arts.
I love that. I know. I was listening to some of your interviews and your podcasts and stuff just to get like from a while ago, listening to them, get a feel of what it is you are bringing to awareness. And I love, and you have so many influence people that you had on your podcast too. So that's definitely one of the things I want you to leave so people can find your podcast when we're done
Thank you.
here on the thing.
Awesome.
I wanted to ask you some of the things like growing up with your family. what was some of the biggest lessons that I know hearing from your mom? First, explain who your mom is to
Sure.
everyone. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, part of my story and part of my journey and seeking and eagerness to like get to this moment is wrapped up in the fact that I did not grow up knowing that my mother was, considered a civil rights icon in the United
Really?
States. I grew
Yeah,
up in Northern Ontario, Canada, on a farm,
yeah.
and there's a million stories in between there and now, but I never in a million years thought I would ever live in the United States, let alone by a twist of fate. In my early 20s, ended up living in Little Rock, Arkansas, where my mother is one of the Little Rock Nine, one of the first 9 Black students to desegregate Central High School in 1957, under the protection of 1,200 soldiers from the 101st Airborne called in by the president. So never in a million years did I ever think that I would live in Little Rock, let alone I actually worked at the historic site where my mother had desegregated
Wow.
almost 40 years before. So it was just this unbelievable unfolding of
Yes.
understanding and also just like a coming home to
Mhm.
my roots. Hence
Mhm.
why I founded my organization called
Oh,
Roots of the
nice.
Spirit.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a piece of me, like getting to know my grandmother, who I didn't necessarily, Granny, who
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily grow up with, and then my mother's side of the family, and just learning that history. It just really brought a part of me out that I knew something was missing, but I wasn't able to put that puzzle piece together until
Yeah.
I had that experience.
Wow. I wanted to ask you too, like, because one of the things I hear you say about you bring awareness through storytelling. What, like, how can you give an example of what that is? Like, what type of awareness and what kind of storytelling, and how does that look like or sound like?
Absolutely. So, storytelling. When I think about storytelling, it's merely like telling one story, and
Mm-hmm.
just our stories being our power and our greatest source of
Got it.
power.
Yes.
But in order to tell our story, we kind of have to understand our history and understand where we come from, so we can
Yes.
understand where we are. But also in terms of, I'm a playwright, so I wrote a play
Oh,
about my mother's experience through her innocent 15 and 16-year-old eyes.
yes.
Prior to my play,
That's so cool.
thank
Yeah.
you. It
Yeah,
was
because
an
you get to see
amazing
that
process, and
perspective
it's,
of it.
yeah, it was pretty cool because I love theater, playwriting, film, etc. And this was an opportunity to bring together my passions, which I talk to
Yeah.
young people about a lot. Is like, what are you talented at? Where are your gifts? And then also, if you're interested in social justice or advocacy, etc., like there's a way to bring those elements together to pursue your passion or your
Yes.
dreams.
Yes. Oh, that's so cool. I do. I love that. So do you have a book out, or is it a play? Because I felt like I've seen a movie about your mom's story before. Not your mom particularly, but the
Hmm,
group of students. I've seen that. I felt like we had to look at that in school for some reason.
that's
History.
cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in all schools or not, but I remember learning about them in school, and I watched a movie too.
Oh,
I
that's
think with my
cool.
friends and I, yeah, we watched a movie that. So that's why it clicked even more for me when I heard, like you said, I actually through
Hmm.
your brother, I seen, and when I seen his mom, I seen her, I think it was a picture of him and his mom, and I was like, oh my God, his whole family's beautiful.
Oh,
And then not only on the outer, what they're doing is beautiful. So I was just like, yeah,
oh,
I
you're so
wanted to know more.
gen- so super generous. Yeah, you probably saw. There's a Disney movie called The Ernest Green Story,
Hmm.
and that
Is it
came out in
old?
'93, which kind of
Yeah,
was part of my awakening because I was like
yeah,
12 or 13. And The Ernest Green Story came out, which was produced by Disney, and it was depicting the Little Rock Nine. My mother, a Hollywood actor, is portraying her, and I was like, what? And then on top of that, it was like 1 year after Boys in the Hood came out, and
yeah.
the lead in the Disney movie was Morris Chestnut. So I was very familiar. Like, to me, I was like, that's quintessential Hollywood. And I was like,
Yeah,
whoa, are you kidding me? There's a
yeah.
Hollywood movie about my mother's experience.
I know, that's so cool. And so you said you grew up not knowing like
Mhm.
that was where your mom went through. How old were you when you found out?
It was around that age. I mean, there were little inkling, like, I
Yeah,
heard bits and pieces, but it never really computed.
Yeah.
until around that age, like 11, 12, when the Ernest Green story came out. And then when
Okay.
there was a scholastic book put out by another one of the nine, her name is Melba Patillo Beals. I think that's when I stopped letting my mother off the hook, because she made it seem like she was involved in something way back when, and
Yeah.
she just never articulated the magnitude and the
Yeah.
significance. But I think, I've come to learn and accept that there's so much pain associated with that experience. So it's not something that you wanted to like tell your
Carry.
children, because
Yeah.
even in this moment, there's a balancing act with Black families and
Absolutely.
people of color, where it's like, I want you to know the history and the reality and the dangers that come with, living in the United States. But I
Yeah.
also want you to have joy, and I want you to
Yeah.
enjoy your life, and I don't want to taint your experience. So it's like, I
I think that's
understand
what I
that.
love about the way you deliver the message, because there's so many messages of it. And I understand the anger of it too. Okay. I'm not dismissing it. But I realize when there's a problem, you recognize a problem, you look at it, and what is the solution? That's how I'm always, whatever it is. What's the solution? Let's work on the
Right.
solution. And I feel like that's where you're coming from, more than an angry spot. And I feel like you'll get more people to listen and really maybe want to make the change. And anger sometimes is necessary also. I understand that. It definitely is. But for the most part, delivering in love for me has always worked so much better. At least that's how I'm going to listen to you. You know what I mean?
Well,
And I feel
thank
like,
you.
yeah, I love that.
Glad that's how it, sorry. I was just gonna say, I'm glad that that's how you receive it,
Comes across.
because I
Yeah,
definitely, like, there are moments where I'm definitely angry,
of
but at
course.
the end of the day, like, my compass, I
Yeah,
mean,
your
you know,
balance.
think about the ills of the world,
Yeah,
and I think about, I really want to shine a light on that, but there have been
yeah,
so many amazing people in my life who have supported me and loved me and uplifted me,
yeah.
and so it outweighs that.
Yes.
But I
Yeah.
have to be realistic and say we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Does your whole family do like in bringing awareness? Is everybody involved in it, or everybody does something different? Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone kind of has their own path.
Yeah.
Mine is a little unique in that I lived and worked at that historic site for 10 years,
Yeah.
so I got a different vantage point
Yeah.
than everyone else. All of my siblings right now live in Canada. I did have my little sister Layla and my older sister Star lived in the States with us for a while, but for the most part, I've been here since 1999. Whereas,
So you're the
I'm
only
like,
one in the States.
pardon me?
You're the only one living in the States?
Yeah, exactly. So there is a different, it comes in a different form, but all of
Yeah.
my siblings are activists and um, extended family, really, in their
Okay.
own way. Whether it's my sister, who is a chef and now she's in public health. My
I
sister Star has an amazing singing voice, and she uses that as an advocate. She's an advocate for
yeah.
social justice and also disability rights. So, and then I have my brother Isaiah, who you're
Yeah.
acquainted with, is a photographer, and he uses his camera as the vehicle to bring
I know
awareness
he's
to
an
social
awesome
justice
photographer too.
issues.
And it went out my head. I wanted to ask you too. On your podcast, and you have guests. I know like the goal of it is to bring, like you said, the storytelling makes sense through
Hmm.
their own journey, what they've experienced, and probably how they're healing and help bringing healing to other
Right.
people. Right? Is that I was just gonna ask? Is that the basis of your podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of, the way that I phrase it is that my goal is to have honest conversations about identity, race, of course, and the racism
Yeah.
and social justice. And then, of course, under that umbrella, like many intersecting issues. But there are just not a lot of spaces in our everyday life that are set aside to have these honest conversations. And as somebody who has, like, just when I think about my life experience, I feel like I have insight into so many different worlds. And I'm
Yeah.
like, we all need to have this, we need to have these conversations, because otherwise we've been so separated strategically. We don't get to know each other. Therefore, it like stirs and brews the misconceptions. So
Yeah.
keeps us divided. And so I wanted to create a place where we can kind of open that up and
Yes.
let it breathe a little bit and feel safe in being honest around these issues.
Well,
I'm a huge
wait.
proponent of oh, sorry.
No, no, no. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No,
I don't
I was
remember.
just going to say, I really think that we need a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I think that we really need to kind of like as a nation sit down together
Yeah.
and and talk about the unvarnished truth in order
Yeah.
to move forward and see our common humanity. And as you mentioned, healing is a big component, which is why I'm so attracted to your platform, which is so powerful and beautiful. Yeah, definitely like harmony, healing, spirituality, all of that I think is
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you. Well, that's what I was gonna say. That for healing to take place, you've also created such an awesome platform because by communication. Okay, so like I had a friend last night that's going through some stuff and just wanted to vent, and this morning called and said, "I feel so much better just because I was able to get it out." So
Hmm.
sometimes by us just sharing our story, you're not healing just yourself; you're healing everybody else who may have had or can identify with a part of that story. So I
Mm.
love that your platform, and that's what's so amazing. Like I keep telling everybody, what we're all doing is that it doesn't matter where, whatever you love, there is a space for you to help
Hello.
heal other people, and that's what we're doing. That's what you're doing. I love that you give people the
Thank
opportunity because it's like a confession almost, you know. And so when you get it out, and then somebody says, "Hey, I know how to help you." You know, whatever it is that they're looking for in their healing journey, I can help you with that. Or either the person becomes healed and finds a way to heal themselves. So I truly love your platform as well.
Thank you. Thank you. You're so right. Like it's cathartic. And then it also makes you feel like I'm not so alone. I mean, I
Yes,
think that, you know, it's a long explanation, but just to give you like an inkling of why I'm so passionate is growing up as a young person, here my mother was a civil rights icon. I didn't know that, but I experienced discrimination at school. And I think that I really, you know how they say, or, you know, it has been said that part of your pain can become part of your purpose. Well,
yes,
I never thought as a as a young person, I'd be that there would arise meaning out of the shame, humiliation, and the feeling of not belonging. And so
yes,
that's what I tried to do because I know that even as grown-ups, we feel those same things.
yes.
And I want a space, and
Yeah,
social media
we're
makes it
carrying it the
difficult.
whole time too. We're carrying it unless you heal it.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm saying. The space that we're creating is for healing to happen. Like all the information that we're sharing and my intention on doing this, the reason why I said, hey, I like what you're doing. I want other people to hear what you're doing so that it brings healing to them. You know, that's my
Mhm.
intention of creating this and starting this. And that drove me to say, okay, I'm going to do it. I've
Ama-
always wanted to. And I said, let's bring other people then to, like I really believe in, we all hold each other hands and we can
Mhm.
rise. So, and however you feel led to do that, that's what we're doing.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. I was so excited because when I came on your page because we are going to be meeting there tonight,
Yeah,
saw that you and I became a member of All Things Possible in 2017. And
yeah,
so I thought that was beautiful. I'm like, I have been witness to your amazing journey since 2017. And
yes.
it's just been beautiful, and I'm just really proud of you. And
Thank you.
I've probably told you this before, and I told my husband before I came on, I'm like, we've never met, but she's like my best friend.
I always tell my daughter too. I'm telling you, my daughter's like, "Ooh, spirit." When I'm like, "Look at what she's doing. Look at," she knows. It's so
So
funny.
cute.
There's
That's
just
so
some souls you click with, you connect with, and I click with a lot. One of my friends says, "You click with the whole dang world." I
well,
kind of
that's
do,
amazing. That's
yeah,
amazing.
but some
Testimony.
people are
You're
just like, touches your heart space, and you are one of them.
amazing. Thank you, and so reciprocated.
So your podcast is one of the ways that you're. Is there anything else that you're involved in that you do that that you give back or help educate other people in?
Yeah, for sure. So my platform is Roots of the Spirit. And so I have a website. It's rootsofthespirit.com. And so at my website, you can kind of get a snapshot of my journey to this moment. And then
Yeah.
what I do is I have my podcast, which we talked about, but I also do anti-racism training with organizations and schools, nonprofits, corporate, etc. And then I do workshops with young people. I teach them about the Little Rock Nine and other young people who are at the forefront of the civil rights movement, and like try to bridge that history to the present. And then I also represent my mother as a speaker because she speaks worldwide. And so I help her with her speaking engagements. And
Yeah.
it's just sometimes we do intergenerational speaking engagements, which is kind of what I really, really love to do.
Yeah.
Just bridging that history, and people are like, what? I thought that was like 100 years
Yes.
ago. I'm like, no, actually, in the big picture, it was just yesterday.
Every
So it
little
brings
piece of it
perspective.
helps. Yeah,
Yeah.
every piece of the puzzle helps you understand better. And it's like
Hmm.
again, understanding brings awareness, which brings healing. So that's pretty
Yeah.
dang cool too. Yeah. And the young kids too now too, I feel like are so passionate too, like that
Hmm.
they're getting it done faster than, every generation steps it up a little bit to me.
Absolutely, which is
I feel like
wonderful. I mean, that's what we want, right? We want to make it
yes.
better and better every
Yeah.
time. And the thing is, like, it's at the end of the day, it's not about me, Spirit, Tawfiq. It's about me being a vessel for that. For actually, I also like to see it as like a mirror because I was so impassioned and enlightened by learning my history. So I encourage the young people and adults alike to dive into their own history so that they can be empowered and carry with
Yeah.
them like the ancestral resilience and power that we have. So
Yeah.
that's kind of, my point is like, yes, I'm talking about my story, but my story is your story as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what's cool because the people who identify will
Hmm.
they will identify and gravitate to hear your story again. So I believe in healing. So when we're finished talking, I know we're gonna wrap it up in a little bit, but I want you to leave your site, your podcast, all of that, so people know how to find you. I mean, I've tagged her name on the video, and the video is gonna be saved on their page, so you can also find her there. If you have any questions, um, I just want to say, what is the one thing that you can tell people, to that they can contribute, no matter what color they are? What is one thing they can be aware of that they can help contribute in the healing as a collective?
Ooh, that's such a wonderful question. I think that, again, kind of using my experience as a microcosm or an analogy or whatever, is to literally learn my own history. Like, learn my history from my mother's side, from my father's side,
Yeah,
learn my history in relation to my community, and also like wherever I'm living geographically. I think that there's so much power in that. And I think that it's not taught in schools. So unfortunately, in this moment, while we're continuing to work to build that into core curriculum so that all children learn this just as
yeah,
much as they do math and science, we have to take it upon ourselves to learn the true unvarnished history. Because, if I think about it, like right now, I am on native lands,
yeah.
and the conversation needs to start there. And we need to know to who, whose land we're on, the history behind that, and then the history of the nation. So I'm just a huge proponent of know your history, know yourself, and thus be able to be a more effective agent of change.
Yeah, once you know yourself, that's tool. Anyways, that's key. That's golden. That's where it starts at, kind of where it ends at too.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
If
you
I would
so
love
much.
to have you come back on again. If you have anything going on that you want to share with us, please feel welcome to come back on
Thank
again.
you. Thank you
I
so
love
much.
you so much.
Such an honor. I feel so great right now.
Same
Thank
here. I was like, I told my daughter, she said it's an honor. She said it's an honor to be on my show. I'm honored
you. It
for
sure
her.
is. It sure is. I'm serious. Like you glow so brightly. You have a
Same,
beautiful
my
spirit.
friend.
So thank
Same, my
you.
friend.
All right. Well, have a
All right.
great
You have a
evening.
good night, you guys. Thank you so much for joining
Take
us. She's
care.
going to leave all her information at the bottom in the comments so you can find her. This is my beautiful friend, Spirit, you guys. All right.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye.